Hello and welcome back to on the rest of the way and to another edition of AEW Dynamite Out of 10. It's a big show today. Adam Cole and MJ are facing off in an eliminator match, and it was headlined by the Elite versus Blackpool Combat Club, as well as a Women's World Championship match and the latest defense by TNT champion Wardlow. So yeah, a lot going on. Let's get straight into things. And we start things off with Cole v MJF. Cole had 30 minutes to defeat MJF and earn him a shot at the world title. He fell short by 1 second as the clock ran out and his title aspirations were seemingly dashed. MJF, the cowardly heel, pulled out every underhanded method in an attempt to thwart the opposition, but it was his ability to stall that played into his favour. While in challenge to 5 more minutes by Cole, he slid out the ring like a snake. He is a classic villain who knows what to do and when to do it and get the desired reaction. Cole appeared to injure his arm in the middle of the bout and continued nursing it, so it'll be interesting to see if he is injured or just hurt. If it's the latter, expect us to get Cole v MJF in time for Forbidden Door All In at the absolute latest. Things got a bit clunky in the stretch as they tried to drag things out, but this was still a great match. Red hot crowd, and love the way they were at the end and continuing feuds later on. Yeah, this is great stuff, 8 out of 10. And then Sammy Guevara was out next, and it was the question at the heart of the promo segment featuring the Spanish God and what will happen with the JAS. As Darby Allin attempted to convince him to be on his own man rather than a crony for Jericho. Guevara talked to the Ocho when he appeared and looked for an apology. Sting arrived on the scene and a tag team match pitting Allin and the Icon against Guevara and Jericho was seemingly made for next week. The stuff with Guevara standing up for himself in the face of Jericho was great and should plant the seeds for potentially a breakup. First, the competitors will have to coexist, and it'll be interesting to see what happens next Wednesday, and certainly be an indication. But yeah, this is really good. Crowd into this as well, and yeah, definitely intrigued to see where it goes. Before it's time for Darby, Sting and Orange Cassidy against Keith Lee versus the Mogul Embassy. And yeah, the match was pure unadulterated fun with fast-paced action that highlighted all involved. Strickland had issues with Cassidy. Lee and Allen obviously have a long history, so the mutual disdain for Swerve at least brought the babyfaces together sensibly. Sting can credibly beat anyone and did so here, seemingly building some momentum ahead of whatever awaits him and Darby against JS. And yeah, this was just good fun stuff from all involved, and probably won't be remembered for a long time, but it doesn't need to be. For the job that it needs to do, it definitely did it here. And yeah, kind of intrigued to see in where all of these are going, to be honest. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. But next up, it was time for the TNT title match, Wardlow against Jake Hager. And yeah, the bout was better than expected, considering we really didn't get much build to it. Thanks to crowd support for the War Dog, and yeah, he retained with his trademark power bombs. There was less about the in-ring action and more about the post-match as Christian Cage and Luchasaurus revealed a bloodied Arn Anderson, the victim of a beatdown at the hands of the heels, and Captain Charisma and his mask and muscle attempted to eliminate Wardlow's greatest support system. And yeah, this feud is cold and nothing we saw here really changed that. Don't know if there's a long-term direction or not. But yeah, just a TNT title defense. But yeah, like I say, kind of want Wardlow to get into a proper feud, so I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It was then time for the Women's Championship match. Tony against Sky Blue. Sky Blue is the future of the women's division and had a breakout performance here, I think it's fair to say. Soho accompanied Storm, and Saraya was noticeably absent and replaced by a cardboard cutout. As the commentary team came up with the excuse that it wouldn't be seen in this town like this excuse, providing she can hang in the ring perform while hitting all important booking spots, including spraying Aussie in the face with her own pun. Blue showcased the improvement that comes with this type of opportunity, and the incessant cheating on the part of the Outcast followed swiftly by a babyface save is a tired formula for this feud though. Why not have Widow Nightingale at ringside? It just doesn't really make sense, and it works initially, but the fall back into creative forces, it does become a bit tiresome, and that certainly was the case here. But Storm and Soho are great though, so they managed to get the most out they can from the booking, and yeah, it's great to see Blue given this opportunity, so I'm going to go down the middle and give it a 6 out of 10. It was their main event time, the Elite versus the Blackpool Combat Club. The Young Bucks and Hangman Page defeated Blackpool Combat Club's Mox, Yuta and Castagnoli in the main event as Page pinned Yuta with a buckshot. The match wrote the latest chapter in the rivalry between the factions, but what came after it overshadowed anything that happened between the ranks. First was the return of Eddie Kingston, who sparred with Castagnoli ahead of an upcoming ROH title match, the upcoming arrival of Konosuke Takeshita, the return of Kenny Omega, and a surprise appearance from Will Ospreay. The latter led to a solid closing beatdown that put heat on one of the marquee bouts of the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. With that said, so much happened in the span of 5 minutes, it was almost impossible to sink any of it in. Kingston's return, which should have been more given the equity that has been built out of the fans, was immediately eclipsed, and Takeshita, a top heel at this point, was tossed aside in favour of Ospreay. This is the danger of throwing too much into one segment and letting it breathe. Some argue it is an action-packed finale that will help AEW build momentum and entering it's the most significant period since the summer of 21, but not allowing important developments to take the spotlight. They need immediately just diminishes them. While with that said though, the match was really good, and we can come to expect the Elite, and Bryan Danielson was great on commentary. Really enjoyed the returns, even if it was just like flurry, and you couldn't really keep up really, but it's still really good, and yeah, definitely excited to see the direction this heads in ahead of Forbidden Door, so I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Overall, AEW Dynamite gets a 7. Oh no, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 this week. I really enjoyed this week's episode of Dynamite, especially the first match and the last match. Some really good stuff as well with Sting and Jericho. I kind of thought that was coming, but I didn't know. But yeah, great to see it finally here. So yeah, on the whole, really good stuff. Enjoyed it from start to finish, really. So yeah, great episode of Dynamite. But anyway, guys, that's the video. Thanks so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, thoughts, comments, and for daily wrestling news and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching. Peace.